Welcome, and thank you so much for attending. We hope that you're enjoying yourselves. First of all, my name is Adrienne Little. I'm the co-founder of the Student Veterans Association, and this is a Veterans Day event for the student veterans and also for veteran faculty, any veteran staff, and all students actually. We just want to take a moment or take some time tonight to honor the veterans that we've lost and the veterans that are still with us and everything that they've sacrificed, and then those that are still serving. First, I'd like to take a moment to thank our sponsors. We'd love to thank the Center for Public Policy and Political Studies. They've provided the food from Casa Chapala, which was amazing, ladies. Thank you so much. And they provided a lot of support for us while we worked to put this together. And CSPS also, Center for Student Center for Student Political Studies, supported us as well. We'd also like to thank some honorary guests. If you're an elected official, if you could please stand. Besides, we've got two judges up here as well and a former mayor. We'd like to thank Bernadette and Maxine and Sue Nurse and everybody who, and of course Dr. Molly Beth Malcolm. Everybody that's been a part of this process. We'd love to thank you. Thank you so much for your support in helping us get off the ground. Right now, what we'd like to do is to have y'all stand for the presentation of the colors and the national anthem.
Forward, mark. Mark time, mark. Detail, hope, left face.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Forward.
Thank you so much, Honor Guard. What we're going to do next is we're going to take a moment and contemplate the prisoners of war missing in action, those veterans who cannot be with us here today. Actually, could you... There we go. As you enter the room, you may have noticed a special table. It is reserved to honor our missing men. Set for 6, the empty chairs represent Americans who were or are missing from each of the services: Army, Marines, Navy, Air Force, and Coast Guard, and civilians, all with us in spirit. Some here were very young or not yet born when the Vietnam War began. However, all Americans should never forget the brave men and women who answered our nation's call and served the cause of freedom in a special way. Let me explain the meaning of this special table, and then join me in a moment of silent prayer at the end. A moment of silence. The table is round to show our everlasting concern. The cloth is white, symbolizing the purity of their motives when answering the call to serve. The single red rose reminds us of the lives of these Americans and of their loved ones and friends who keep the faith while seeking answers. The red ribbon symbolizes our continued determination to account for them. The slice of lemon reminds us of the bitter fate of those captured and missing in a foreign land. A pinch of salt on each plate symbolizes the tears of our missing and their families who long for answers after decades of uncertainty. The lighted candle reflects our hope for their return, alive or dead. The Bible or Holy Book represents the strength gained through faith in our country, founded as one nation under God, to sustain those lost from our midst. The glass is inverted to symbolize their inability to share a toast. The chairs are empty, they are missing. Let us now raise our glasses in a toast to honor America's POWs and MIAs, to the success of our efforts to account for them, and to the safety for all now serving our nation. Next, our first speaker this evening is Dr. Richard Rhodes. He's the president and CEO of the Austin Community College District. He joined ACC in September 2011 after serving as president of El Paso Community College for 10 years. Dr. Rhodes' commitment to student success is unparalleled. He works to improve pathways into higher education, strengthen an awareness of the community college mission, and give students the tools to accomplish their educational, professional, and personal goals. This has been demonstrated by his pledge to providing support through ACC for veteran students, a unique group of students at ACC that number over 2,500, and by implementing beneficial programs tailored to the veterans to ensure their success, not only in the academic world, but primarily in their transition from a military career into excellence in their lives as civilians. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Rhodes.
Yes, you may be seated. Thank you very much, and let's give Adrian a big round. First of all, I want to say welcome, and second of all, thank you very much for your service to our country. Thank you for your service to make sure that we can enjoy our freedoms. The first thing I want to do, though, here is introduce one of our members of our board of trustees here at Austin Community College, and that's Nan McCraven. And I would like to ask her to come forward and give greetings on behalf of our board of trustees. And if you don't know, Nan McCraven happens to be the sister, much younger sister, right? Much younger sister of Admiral William McCraven, who is the new chancellor of the University of Texas system. So, Nan?
Thank you so much for letting me join you today and tonight. This is a special day always for me and my family. My grandfather, my father, my brother, my nephew, all have served our country, as well as their families, and I always think this is a family affair. My mother, my sisters, my spouses, and all of the children of our family have all taken part in the service to the country. Because I think, as you veterans know, without your families and without their help and support, this is a hard road to hoe. So I just want to say thank you to you and your families for your service and sacrifice to this country. I like you get a little emotional today because of our service, and just glad that my brother and my family is home safely. So thank you so much.
You know, I would just add, this is a personal day for me too. Veterans Day is very special. It is a day of celebration of my parents, both of whom have passed away, but both of whom served in World War II in the United States Navy. My mother was a Navy nurse, physically stationed at Pearl Harbor on the day that it was bombed, and had stories to tell of that experience. My father was a Seabee in the United States Navy, and I remember as a child growing up the value that they placed on service to our country. But I remember the value that my father specifically placed on me in as I grew up, to make sure that I honored those who serve our country. But I remember as a young child, my father had his pea coat from the United States Navy, and he had his sailor's hat. And as a little boy, I used to love to run around wearing his pea coat and sailor's hat, and it didn't matter if it was in the middle of the summer, 110 degrees, I still liked to wear that pea coat. And it's so this is a special day, and I say once again, on behalf of the students, the faculty, the staff, and the trustees of Austin Community College, thank you for your service and your dedication and your commitment to our country. God bless you.
Thank you, Dr. Rhodes. Good evening. My name is David Little. I am the president and co-founder of the Student Veteran Association at Austin Community College. First of all, I would like to thank Dr. Rhodes and Dr. Malcolm for their continued efforts in making ACC the ideal starting point for veterans wishing to continue their education outside of their military service. I'd also like to thank our speakers for taking the time to be here and share their success stories, and I do know that all of our student veterans will appreciate that. I'd also like to thank the Board of Trustees for volunteering to ensure ACC continues to offer top-notch service to its students, all of the students, which they do deserve. I would like to thank the Center for Public Policy and Political Studies for their generosity in helping us provide a free dinner to all the veterans tonight and families. Most importantly, I would like to thank all of the veterans who sacrifice so much to ensure that we get to enjoy all of our freedoms here in the United States. I would like to take this opportunity to tell you about the SVA and what our goals are for the future of SVA and Austin Community College. We are a student, veteran-run organization that aims to bridge the gap between expectations and reality in the experience at Austin Community College. We veterans want to help one another in the transition from military to student and civilian life by passing along information that we have gleaned from our own trial and error processes, while fighting for a more stable, comprehensive, and permanent support structure at the school. We hope thereby to reduce the amount of stress and confusion that veterans returning to civilian life experience, as well as increase the retention and graduation rates at ACC. We have many goals that we hope will benefit all of the student veterans at ACC. These goals they include, but are not limited to, highlighting veteran-specific academic issues that fall outside of traditional student concerns, establishing more veteran-oriented services such as advising designed specifically for veterans, offering an environment where veterans can hang out and study with peers at all of the ACC campuses, which we have seen this happen at the Highland Mall, and was just wonderful to see that. Such a amazing step that ACC has made. And additionally, we'd like to see the consolidating, we'd like to help by consolidating national and local support offerings to make resources more accessible. In order to achieve these goals, we first need to establish a need. We need to hear the voice of every student veteran at Austin Community College. That way we can represent them and speak to the ACC administration on their behalf, and in turn, have them their issues resolved in a timely manner. We are continually working to improve our relationship with the Austin Community College administration and appreciate all of the accomplishments that they've made so far to improve veteran services. So just help us help them by joining the Student Veteran Association. Thank you very much for this opportunity. Next, I would like to introduce the Honorable Herb Evans. Honorable Herb Evans joins us today. He serves as a Travis County Justice of the Peace for Precinct 5. His experience as a veteran has played a significant part in his life, and he is here to share with us his thoughts on the day and what it means to be a veteran.
Like most of you, I'm a very ordinary person who, through a series of very extraordinary experiences, managed to change and grow as a person. You've all been through that. You know what that's like. I don't have a lot of wisdom to offer. I'm not any smarter than anybody else. I'm just a hell of a lot older. When Adrienne asked me to speak, I asked her what she wanted me to speak about, and I don't remember her answer because it was very nebulous and didn't really have much to say. But I think I got the impression she wanted me to try and give you all a little bit of advice. I suppose I have a little bit of advice. One is that whatever you've gone through in the military, whatever privations you've had, the suffering that you've done, the injuries you may have received, you have to treat that as something that lets you grow as an individual and to make it a positive thing in your life. There are many programs that are available to you, some of which were not available when I was your age. One of the programs that I'm involved in is the Veterans Court. Judge Mike Denton presides over that court, and I sometimes sit as the alternate judge. I'll be sitting in the Veterans Court day after tomorrow. That's for folks with criminal problems and substance abuse problems. I'm very proud to sit in that court. That's the one I hope that none of you come to. But there are many other programs available, educational programs, individual counseling programs through the Veterans Association, Veterans Administration, also through the Texas Veterans Board. Learn what's available to you out there. And the first thing, the most important thing, you've already figured out because you're here, and that's education. You need to make your way in this life in some role that is satisfactory to you and some role that's productive. Pick something that you enjoy doing and that you're good at. It's best if you pick something that you're good at and that you enjoy. That's always a problem. Given a choice, I have no wisdom. I have gone back and forth my whole life between things that I felt like I was good at and couldn't make much money at, and stuff that I wasn't particularly enjoying, but that I was good at and could make money at. Most of my friends have faced the same sort of dichotomy in life. But at least pick something that you can do well. One of the things that strikes me for folks coming out of the military, and I encourage you to consider, and that's government service. I know when I got separated, the last thing in the world I wanted to do was work for the government. And I spent the bulk of my adult life shaking my fist at the government. I was a criminal defense lawyer. Once I finished school, that's what I did. And I suppose I still had some of those anarchistic and anti-social tendencies. But the skills, the traits, the discipline that you have learned and mastered while you were in service will stand you in good stead in government service. I've changed my mind. I've been working for the government now 15 years. I'm no longer a bomb thrower or antisocial. I encourage you to consider government service. There's some very distinct advantages. One, that the jobs are much more stable than you will find in the private industry or the private world. The skills that you've learned will help you, the discipline will help you to rise in government service. Most government entities will give you a preference for having served in the military when you apply for a job. Some of that's written in the law, some of it just happens. I don't know that I have any directive as a county employer. I have, I think, 16 people that work for me. But if somebody's been in the military, that'll automatically get them through at least to an interview. And I will tilt the scales a little bit, all things being equal. And I think a lot of bosses in the government world feel that way. I think Texas law requires a certain amount of that, although I confess I don't know what the law is. I know the federal law gives you some preference when you apply for federal jobs. I also would encourage you, no matter how much money you make, that's also a struggle throughout life. Unless you just happen to inherit a lot of money or win a lottery, it's going to be a struggle your whole life. And there's no way to avoid the struggle. It doesn't matter how much you make. My advice to you is whatever you make, spend 90% of it joyfully, gleefully, and without any reservation. The other 10%, save and invest. If you do that, and you're firm about it, your standard of living will be virtually the same. Taking home $40,000 a year is not a whole lot different in terms of standard of living than taking home $36,000 a year. It's virtually the same. You're going to eat about the same kind of food. You're going to have about the same kind of living quarters. Maybe you won't vacation quite the nice places, but you're going to live about the same. Your families are going to live about the same. And if you do that, if you save 10% and invest it, when you get to be my age, you're going to be a rich old fool. You really will. You can't avoid it. It will happen to you. Other than that, I don't have any wisdom. Thank you. Thank you for your service. I appreciate you having me here for dinner.
Thank you so much. Our next speaker is Dr. Mariano Diaz-Miranda, and he is a professor of history at ACC. He's also the founder of the Mexican-American Chicano Studies Department and the founder and director of the Latino and Latin American Studies Center. Born in Havana, Cuba, Dr. Diaz-Miranda served with the 36th 30th Squadron in the Air Force from 1966 to 1970 as an instructor in instrument flying at a nationwide pilot training school. His brother also served, though in the U.S. Army, as an airborne trooper in the 82nd and 101st, and was deployed twice to Vietnam, where he was wounded twice and received 2 Purple Hearts. Dr. Diaz-Miranda is with us today to share a few words of his wisdom, so please join me in welcoming him.
to see those of you who are vets. Please stand up so you can be recognized. Some of you that know me quite a bit, I know that I'm almost up. I cannot be directed, so to speak. So you wonder how I survived in the military. I have no military bearing. I never volunteered. As a matter of fact, I'm a high school dropout. And as a high school dropout in New York City, I loved my life working for Grumman Aircraft. I used to get paid on Friday. I used to get into my TR-3A. That was my first car that I had, my driving gloves, my pipe, and be cool. When Monday came about, I was broke. Just plain and simple. One of the Saturdays when I was visiting my buddy Ray, I went to see him, and in the morning, after we had a night out on Friday, and as I come to his apartment, he's opened up the mail, and there is a letter from Uncle Sam's. Greetings. You're hereby to report to Fort Dix on December 23rd, 1966. Me, with the kind of gentleness that I have, I started just cracking up, just laughing at Ray that he was going to go into the military. So I said, Ray, when I get home, because Ray was mooch for my mom, when I get home for supper, if I have one of those things at home, I'll go with you. We get over to my house, my mom is in tears. Lo and behold, at the same time, I'm also receiving the 8 readings. Hereby, Ray and I did not know what to do, so we're not about to go to Canada with all the folks who are going up there, because it's in the middle of Vietnam. So we decided we're going to go to Mexico. We're going to take our car, right, and drive down to Mexico. My father calls those fools. Says, you guys are idiots. So then I'm working for Grumman. I decided I'm going to get a delayed enlistment, right? Something that we see and trying to get out of it. So I go to Grumman Aircraft, and they said that Grumman Aircraft couldn't be working without me. I was a fantastic thing that airplanes could not be built. The only thing that I did at Grumman is the hook that you have in the Navy, that catches on. I machined those hooks. So I said, you guys a lot of things. So I go to my my draft board. I bring the letter, and they say, well, you have to bring one of those every day, every month. And we don't know what to do, and then Ray and I decided to go in the delayed enlistment program. And that's how I get into the Air Force. I get into the Air Force, I come over here to San Antonio. I hated that city. Hated it. From San Antonio, I go over to Chanute Air Force Base in Rantoul, Illinois. Spent there 50 weeks in tech school, and the first time out of tech school, I'm in O'Hare Airport. Excuse me. In my uniform to visit my mom and dad, and I got spat in the face because I was called a baby killer. That was the Vietnam era. Today, at least, we bring it back, we embrace it. The Air Force, what it did for me was something new. It gave me character, it gave me passion. They found out that I was a great instructor, and from then on, I basically got ahead. So from a high school dropout kid to a veteran that went in the Vietnam, in the Jerry Bill. My wife and I were both been to school. And I thank you for inviting me now here with my PhD. I can't talk anymore.
Dr. Diaz-Miranda. At this time, we'd like to present a video compilation that the SVA officers put together, a compilation of different interviews. We interviewed veterans from all walks of life, including ACC students, faculty, UT faculty, just asking them what Veterans Day means to them. Enjoy.
33 years in the Army, either active or reserve, and I retired from that.
Being a veteran and Veterans Day is very important to me. I was the first female in my family to join the military. I was in from 02 to 07, joined military police, served a year in Iraq, and I can honestly say being in the military has shaped me to who I am today. So,
Veterans Day to me is that day when we recognize all the men and women who are currently serving as well as the ones who have served in the past that have sacrificed so much to give us all the freedoms that we enjoy on a daily basis. They do so much and ask for so little.
It's basically what Veterans Day means to me. It's just a day of remembrance, remembering those who gave everything, the sacrifices that every single uniform service member made.
Well, my father was a veteran, his brother was a veteran, and my grandfather served. I served 23 years. I spent Veterans Day in countries all across the world.
So Veterans Day to me means any of those who make a commitment for the country and its people, your family, everybody that you basically sign that money for before yourself. So that's what it means to me.
Veterans Day is a day that we honor all the service of all our veterans that fought in all the wars since World War I.
For me, it's a lot of remembering when we were over in Iraq and like the guys that I served with, some of them that didn't come home, of course, but just a lot of reflecting on what it was like over there and what we went through and being really happy to not be there.
I will always cherish this day and thank everybody on Veterans Day.
They should definitely be recognized in that day. They sacrifice time, sometimes family, things that are so important to them, and of course sometimes ultimately their lives.
Families included, the ones that came before us, the ones that are presently serving, and the ones that are to serve, and just remembering, everything that they went through and remembering why they did it. That's what Veterans Day is to me.
So rather than talk about myself or other veterans, Veterans Day to me is a way to honor my parents. Both my mother and my father were in World War II in the Army. And yes, you've heard the old saying, your mother wore combat boots, mine did. So I view Veterans Day as a way to honor them. In fact, it's a way to honor all the veterans of World War II.
I've always considered that the best part of being a service member, celebrating a Veterans Day with my family. So I applaud Veterans Day and I wish everyone a happy Veterans Day.
So I want to commend you, the veterans of Austin Community College, for what you have done for your country, and I wish you the best of luck in transitioning to a civilian career.
I want to thank the military for that and giving me the discipline, and I still think about all my friends that are still over there, and I've lost people very close to my heart.
For that, we should all salute them and thank them for everything they've done for us.
My parents were nothing special. They were average people, and yet they performed extraordinary service by volunteering for the country when the country needed it. In fact, that's what all veterans do. Veterans make that extra step when most people won't. So I view Veterans Day as a way to say that, look, we work with very special people that have made that extra effort. So for veterans, thank you very much for your service, work you've done for the country, and for your benefit. Thank you very much.
A good time to remember those that didn't come back, but it's also an even better time to reconnect with those that did. I salute every man and woman in the military. Thank you for your service, and God bless America.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Dr. Edward Mullen. Dr. Mullen is a partner in Training and Assessment Professionals, a consulting firm providing business consulting, online personnel assessments, and leadership training across the United States. He holds a doctorate in political economy from the University of Texas at Austin and is a professor of government at Austin Community College. He was also a career officer in the United States Army, serving in war and peace across the world. Active in community service, he has served as mayor and councilman for the city of Harker Heights, board director of Seton Center in Harker Heights, Rotary International Governor, chairman of the Leon Valley Boy Scout District, and founder-director of several community service organizations. He is a 4-time recipient of Who's Who Among American Teachers, the Award of Teaching Excellence from Phi Theta Kappa Honor Society, and the Boy Scouts of America Civil Beaver National Award for Distinguished Service. In 2000, he led a medical team to Shandong Province, China, under a humanitarian grant from the Rotary Foundation. In 2006, he organized a business exchange with young professionals from China through Rotary International. Dr. Mullen served 2 tours in Vietnam as an infantry officer. There he was wounded twice while he commanded an infantry company. After the war, he served 21 years as a career Army officer around the world. Upon retirement, Dr. Mullen earned a PhD from the University of Texas, taught as a professor, owned a consulting business, and served as mayor of the city of Harker Heights, Texas from 2005 to 2011. Join me in welcoming Dr. Edward Mullen.
She was an intelligence analyst in the Army. I have no idea how you found out. Well, I want to thank David and Adrian for this event, but also for organizing the veterans. I have, in the last few years, of course, seen more and more veterans coming to ACC, and they need a central focus. And thank you for both for bringing this, and for Dr. Rhodes and the college for providing the center for the veterans. And I hope that we will appreciate it. Mariano and I served in Vietnam a couple of centuries ago, but we shared the same bitter homecomings as many other veterans did. And so today, veterans returning from Iraq and Afghanistan, we all have developed the phrase of welcome home. And thank you for your service. And I'd like to give a shout out to a friend of mine I brought with me, retired Infantry Command Sergeant Major Don Phelps over here. He's a combat leader in war several times and was the Command Sergeant Major at Fort Hood before he retired and started driving a Corvette. But you know, all of this, the common thread that binds us together is pride in our service. Whether it was you know, the Civil War that we were in, or the current wars that you have suffered through for a decade, and many deployments. And also binds us together is the knowledge that we took great risks and we performed well, and that we served a cause that was bigger than ourselves. And I don't know why it's always hard to talk about this stuff, but those common threads for you just starting out in life, and for us old folks, they bind you together forever. But now today, you are on a different mission and a different deployment. You are on a mission of creating a new life for yourself outside of the military. Different life, different structure, different rules, different demands on you and on your families. But you bring to that mission the knowledge that you can succeed at any tough task. You have done it. You have leadership skills and decision-making experience that were forged in the sands of faraway places, and for many in the heat of combat. You know how to be part of a team, how to exercise initiative, how to follow a mission to its objective, and your mission now is your degrees. Well, this deployment to your new mission is tough, and I talked to many, many students in the last 2 years who were soldiers. It is tough, but you are tough too. You have proven that. You have the skills to succeed, and don't doubt that. Now you have education tools to help you too. And the post-GI Bill allows you college education to lift your goals, lift your sights, and succeed in the future. The only thing I would say to my students that I see all the time, stick with it. Stick with it, even if it's tough, stick with it. It'll reward you in the end. You remind me of the World War II GIs who came back from that long war. And because of the GI Bill, millions of them went to college. Before that, nobody went to college. It was a rich man's place. And after World War II, we created a whole new society with GIs that were educated through the GI Bill. You are that next wave. You are the next ones. So we, us old guys, we have a lot of high hopes for you. You have the skill sets, you have the leadership, get your education, finish it, and you will not only lift yourself, but lift the nation. So, I urge you to use your strong life experience with this opportunity for education that you have now. Go as far as, you know, fortune and hard work will take you. Honor the nation and yourself as you're doing it. And finally, I would say if there's any government and business leaders here in this audience, think about the vets that are not here. We have a huge veteran homeless population. Huge veteran unemployment population. Austin is the economic region, the highest, best, strongest economic region in the country. We can do better. Thanks for inviting me tonight. Well, I have to also have another job here. I have to introduce our next speaker. This guy puts us old guys to shame. Christopher Arejo. He's the Travis County Austin coordinator for the Military Veteran Peer Network. It's a very important job. This guy had 5 deployments to Iraq and Afghanistan in this recent war. That's amazing. And you're still alive. Very funny. This is a hero. Welcome him.
How y'all doing today? Thank you for having me here. I appreciate it. First of all, I want to ask you, those of you veterans here that joined after September 11th, 2001, to please stand up. I salute you guys. You guys are the true gangsters. For those of you that joined after September 11, 2001, you joined the military knowing what our state of affairs were in this world and knowing that you were probably going to get deployed and be shipped off overseas, away from your families, away from your friends, and doing what you were called to do. My story, totally different. I graduated high school in 1992. I went to work for my family's business. We owned 6 McDonald's in the Olympia area in Washington State. After falling out with my family, my father decided to sell the McDonald's, and I was out of a job. I went through my savings, lost my house, and decided at 25 years old I was going to join the Army in 1999. So I joined the Army. Stayed in the Army for 15 years. Like said, I did 3 deployments to Afghanistan and 2 deployments to Iraq. Upon my coming home after my 5th deployment, I came home and I was injured overseas. Diagnosed with a TBI. Sometimes I kind of forget what I'm saying, but I was diagnosed with a TBI and I was medically retired from the Army. I was lost. I didn't know what I was going to do. The Army was my life at that time. I spent 15 years. It's what I knew. It's what I was good at. And I didn't know I was lost. I was in a very dark place at that time. I alienated my family. I alienated my friends. I self-medicated. I would sit in my driveway and Mr. Jack Daniels became my best friend. 3 bottles a day. And I was down, I got out of the Army at 175 pounds. After that year was over, I was down to 121 pounds. I was, but luckily I had a friend. I had a friend who said, you know what? There's people that understand what you're going through. There's people that can help you. There's resources out there for you. That friend now, Sean Hanna, is the director of the Military Veteran Peer Network with the Texas Veterans Commission. He pulled me out of that dark place where I was at. He gave me hope. He gave me a sense of purpose, something to look forward to. After about another year of therapy and finding the right medications that work for me, I'm on the right path, which is why I give back now with the Military Veteran Peer Network. The Military Veteran Peer Network was started about 4 years ago through the Texas State Legislature in partnership with the Department of State Health Services. It was a dream of one person, Sean Hanna, who started this. Letitia Vanderpute is a very big supporter of the peer network and peer-to-peer. Basically, it's vets helping vets. It's vets understanding what other vets have gone through, the struggles and the barriers that we have when we come back from deployments. We help those individuals navigate the VA system or navigate the systems of the resources that are available to those individuals. The primary focus of the Military Veteran Peer Network is veteran mental health. We try to reach those veterans that are isolated, those that are self-medicating, sitting on the back porch, and not really knowing what services are available to them. And we try to instill hope in those individuals. We try to show them that there are people there that understand what you're going through. Maybe not the exact same experiences, but we pounded the same ground. We've traveled the same roads. We understand. And that's what the message of MVPN is. And we do that through peer-to-peer counseling, peer-to-peer mentoring. We train peer-to-peer mentors, individuals who have other veteran friends, individuals who meet veterans at different events like this. We train them as peer mentors, those individuals that can help that other individual go through what they're going through. We also, as the coordinator for the Austin Travis County area, I also pull together all the veteran service organizations and the different resources that are in our community, because it starts in our community. Our community has to take a vested interest in our veterans in order for these individuals to get better and to be productive members of our communities. That's where it starts. We've got to, if you know a veteran who is struggling, you need to connect them with the right people. The County Veterans Service Office, the Texas Veterans Commission, the Military Veteran Peer Network. They need to be connected. And that's what we're here to do. So, you know, like I said, we do a lot of things, and I'm involved also with the Veterans Court with Judge Herb Evans. We are starting the first peer mentor program for the Vet Court. So we're going to be bringing in veterans who want to mentor other veterans who are going through a legal process that can help them through that legal process. You know, in closing, I just want to say thank you for having me here. I really do appreciate it, guys. I met Adrian and David. I always call them Mr. and Mrs. Little. So I met them through a chance meeting. The only reason I know Adrian is because I emailed her back and forth many a times. He emails me from some other weird email address, so I don't really know what it is. But, you know, I had a chance meeting with them a couple weeks ago, and we talked, and, you know, they have a great thing going here. You guys, I'm very, very honored to be here. I'm very honored for you guys to be here, and I want to thank you guys for allowing me the time to speak to you. Thank you. I was wondering what picture you were going to use. That's actually on a guard tower outside of Kandahar Airfield. So there's a little MiG down there that they have out there. It's kind of weird. Huh? ISO. Oh, in support of one deployment in support of Operation Iraq. So, yeah, actually it was 2 deployments to Iraq. So, anyway, but yeah, that's kind of weird. They call that, across the street over there, they call that the Taliban truck stop. There's always a guy looking at us through binoculars from over there. But anyway, so I have the pleasure of introducing our next guest speaker, the Honorable Kenneth Vitucci, as a judge in the Municipal Court for the City of Austin. Before serving as a judge, however, he served in the United States Marine Corps from 1966 to 1969 as an infantry officer. He deployed to Vietnam with the 1st Battalion, 5th Marine Regiment, 1st Marine Division, as a platoon officer in Bravo Company. His operation areas included Hoi An, Phu Loc, and Cao Troy. He was wounded during the Tet Offensive, after which he was hospitalized for nearly a year. Honorable Vitucci has been active in many Austin Community College events, such as our Constitution Day celebration, hosted by the Center for Public Policy and Political Studies in September. Always a huge hit. He has been enthusiastic in supporting the growth and learning of ACC students, and is here again with us tonight to support and encourage the student veterans at ACC. Would you please welcome me and please join me in welcoming the Honorable Kenneth Vitucci. Go on and be named.
Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you very much. I am honored to be here. I'm honored to see the veterans of many ages here. But I'm going to especially direct what I have to say to the ones who stood a little while ago, the gents and ladies who have served since 9/11. You people have accomplished more, better than pretty much any veterans we've ever had. I say that I am a man who's humbled by the men with whom I serve. I'm humbled by both my parents who served during World War II. All of those veterans. But I see what you have done. I honor what you have done, and we all do. Now, the older veterans probably know this, but one of the things that comes after you've done what you've done is something that plays back in your head like the world's little nastiest DVR. If you saw it, it's there. If you smelled it, it's there. If you heard it scream, it's there. If you heard yourself scream, it's there. And it never goes away. It's a powerful thing for good as well as for other things. Now the gents, all of them who are associated here with the ACC and the ladies who have served, all know the benefit of education. Y'all are here trying to do it. And you're going to succeed through it. But one of the things that will create difficulties for you going through this and the rest of your lives is that little voice from the DVR. It's kind of like that when you leave the TV on while you're doing something else just to give you some noise and some movement and whatnot. Except that it's not Desi and Lucy. And it's there. Now, what I'm going to prescribe for you is what has worked for me. The first thing is, I'm proud to see something. The Marines have always been known to have bumper stickers and big, honking, bright stickers on the windows, on the rear windows of our cars, trucks, tricycles, whatever the heck we're driving. I have seen more of those things that are dedicated to Army, Navy, Air Force, not only just the general services, but specific units. And I'm proud of that. Y'all are starting to get it. You understand that you need to show everyone who you are. I'm going to suggest that you wear a tie tag. wear a hat, wear whatever when you're wearing it, so you let those people know. If you have decorations, wear them. You know, I'm not talking about looking like a neon sign or anything. But do it. And be in touch with your people. A buddy of mine up in Dallas, when I started, I was helping him, he's the one who started, putting together a group of folks to go to Pascagoula, Mississippi, to the dedication of the USS Lake City. Understand, I got shot on the way to where I didn't, he was there, but all my people were there. And we moved heaven and earth and broke a few laws along the way to find out where our people were, to contact them, give them the opportunity to be there. You guys come from a different era, different time, and use different technologies. And you're probably already in touch with some of your folks. Use your educations, get into your careers, but don't lose those numbers. Because at some point, you are going to want to talk to those guys. There's things you're going to want to understand, things you're going to want to know. And they're the ones who can help you with it. They're the ones who can help you connect to other people. Other thing, use and be part of the various veterans organizations. I'm not going to tout any special one. But they're there. And if you're getting assistance of any type from the VA, look at the ones that have veterans representatives, I believe is what the general name of the work is called. They're the people who will help you crawl through the BS and red tape and get what is there for you. You don't have to bow to anybody for using it. It is there because we know it's needed. And I direct that to all of us, not just the younger fellows and women who are here today. Now, I had a whole lot of stuff to say, but a lot of it's already been said, and said well by the folks who've been in front of me. I do want to let you guys in on a little secret. And this is something that has to do with Veterans Day and the way we feel about each other. And Marines go around saying Semper Fi and all that business all the time. Semper Fidelis, the motto of the Corps. But there's a meaning when we say it to each other, and there's a meaning when we say it to you today. Semper Fidelis really means I love you.
You might have gotten me in trouble, Judge. My husband has a hat. I always tell him not to wear it. It's very sparkly. Now he's going to wear it all the time. So, what we'd like to do at this time is we'd actually like to recognize and present symbols of our appreciation to folks here today who have made not only the association possible, the Student Veterans Association, but also this event. The first is actually Professor Mariano Diaz-Martinez. Sorry, yes, I'm sorry. You're in, there we go. We're working this out as we go. Dr. Molly Beth Malcolm. She was instrumental in opening up the Veterans Resource Center over at the Highland Lawn, which is a phenomenal facility, and we're really excited about that. The ACC Board of Trustees, which I believe that Ms. Oh wait, where is she? She's Okay. Would you like to receive this on their behalf?
Okay, I'll do it.
Thank you. The Board of Trustees of ACC. Professor Ed Mullen. Honorable Herb Evans. Dr. Richard Rhodes. Honorable Kenneth Vitucci. And Christopher Araujo. Thank you all so much for your involvement and for making this happen. We appreciate it. And at this time, actually, we have a treat for you all. A little breakaway from the usual kind of event. I would like to introduce to you Rabbi Marie Betcher. She's the Rabbi of Congregation Shir Ami in Cedar Park. Rabbi Betcher is an invested cantor by Hebrew Union College and received ordination under the auspices of the Rabbinic Academy in New York. Rabbi Marie Betcher also holds a bachelor's and a master's degree in vocal performance from Indiana University School of Music and Florida State University, respectively. She serves as chaplain for the Cedar Park Police and Fire Departments. Rabbi Betcher also represents Congregation Shir Ami as the congregation's clergy in the Austin Jewish and interreligious communities. She lives in Leandra with her husband, Jonathan, and their two rescued fur babies, Rosie and Izzy. And tonight she's going to actually sing a blessing to veterans for us.
I don't know if you're going to be able to see the words on the screen, but definitely please join me in the hallelujahs. I rewrote the words from Leonard Cohen's Hallelujah, and I entitled it Our Vets, Our Country, and Our Flag. A child is born into the world, a blessing whether boy or girl. Their parents teach them love and honor too young. Instilled in them a love for right, protect and serve, know when to fight. Our country stands united, hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. For country and for God above, for family, friends, and all we love, you learn to shoot at someone who that threw you. For some a sound, they cry at night. For some a silence from the fight. For some who've seen the light sing hallelujah. Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. They did, they do, they stand the test. They gave, they give us all their
President of the Student Veterans Association here at ACC, my name is Logan Wassam. I'm an Army veteran. I did 4.5 years and 2 tours in Afghanistan in support of Operation Enduring Freedom. And I can't tell you how honored I am to be in a room full of people that care this much. So what we'd like to do now at this time in our program is to recognize all the veterans in the room and their family members in order of military branch. So if you're a veteran or a family member, when you hear your branch song play, and we'll have a video that'll be going on in the background, please stand and be recognized. All right, first up is the Navy. Those veterans and family of the U.S. Navy, please stand. America's Navy is a force development that has been historically significant for the last 237 years. The times may change, the threats may become more obscure, the complex nature of 21st century life may make the demand for such a presence less obvious. But now more than ever, the Navy is something to be aware of, something to be thankful for, something to be proud of. They have, throughout our country's history, played vital roles in our conflicts and protected the people of the United States and the way of life. The Air Force veterans, please stand up. The United States Air Force became a separate military service on September 18, 1947, with the implementation of the National Security Act of 1947. The Act created the National Military Establishment, later renamed the United States Department of Defense, which was composed of 3 branches: the Army, Navy, and newly created Air Force. The Air Force has been a mighty asset in the United States' ability to accomplish the mission and to support the branches with troops on the ground in irreplaceable ways. The Marines, stand up. Since the founding of the Marine Corps at Philadelphia's Tuntown in 1775, the Marines have adapted to overcome the ever-evolving threats facing our nation and our world. They are renowned for their discipline and their pride in nation. They endure rough conditions with honor. They have been the vanguard, the first to arrive. They are the spearhead. Coast Guard, please stand. The United States Coast Guard is the nation's oldest and its premier maritime agency. Throughout its history, the Coast Guard's law enforcement responsibilities have been primarily threefold. First is to ensure that the tariffs are not avoided. Second, to protect shipping from pirates and any other unlawful interdiction. And third, to intercept material and human contraband. And that's just their law enforcement responsibilities. So thank you for protecting our coast. And then the Army, please stand. The Second Continental Congress founded the Army in 1775. It is the oldest service of the United States military. Originally formed to protect the freedom of the first 13 colonies, the Army has evolved and grown from this small militia force into the world's premier fighting force. The Army exists to serve the American people, to defend the nation, to protect vital national interests, and to fulfill national military responsibilities. Cool!
Concludes our program. So thank you so much for joining us this evening. Have a good time. Find some way to bless a veteran. And thank you. Have a great evening.
Before you go, I really would like to thank Adrian and her husband. They have done a fantastic job.